Welcome everybody. Welcome new faces. Welcome to the Deal Mindfulness group. There's a smaller, more intimate version of the Deal Mindfulness group this week. Right. Topic for this week is puzzles, which I'm sure for those of you that have heard have started puzzling about already. I'll get round to that in a minute. What I thought we'd do this week is start off with the breathing exercise first. Then I'll do my little talky bit, and then we'll do another exercise afterwards, which is going to be a slight change to what we usually do. So hopefully it'll be interesting. And for those of you that are new to the group, mindfulness is all about being in the present moment. So what causes a lot of stress, anxiety and unhappiness in people's lives is worrying about the past, or worrying about what might happen in the future, or trying to predict what's going to happen in the future, stewing over things that have happened in the past. Of course we can't change those, we can't change the past. It's done, gone, got to move on. Future hasn't happened yet. We don't know what's going to happen. As much as we might try and predict, as much as we might like to spend our time worrying about it, it does us no good. Whatever we rehearse, you can pretty much guarantee that it won't pan out that way. The only point in time that actually exists, the only moment that we have in which we can experience our lives and being alive and feeling alive, is this moment right now. This moment in time right now. And that's what mindfulness is all about, just being in the moment, being present in the moment. So what the general format is we do some exercises which help you to practice being in the moment, and then you can take those away and you can practice those in your own time, take elements from them. It's not a prescribed program. I'm not going to give you a booklet that says you follow this program rigidly and then at the end of it you'll be mindful. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, and that's not how I operate either. So we do some exercises which enables you to develop a bit of mindful practice, and then I do a bit of a talk on a theme, which generally I make up as I go along. However, this week I've actually done some prep, and I've got notes. I've written notes. Actually done some prep. Well, only because last week and the week before I got home and I went, I meant to say that and I didn't say it. And I forgot to mention this. So I'll probably still forget. There'll be something that I'll get home and I'll look at my sheet and go, you forgot. Okay. So we'll begin with the breathing exercise. And the reason why we do the breathing, why the breathing is such a focal part of enabling us to be mindful, is because you can only breathe in the present moment. You can't breathe in the past. You can't breathe in the future. Each breath happens right now. And it's something that's always happening. We're always breathing. If we're not breathing, we're dead. So you can't be mindful if you're dead. And it's something that we can't control either. It's something that our body does, which we can be aware of, which we can bring our awareness to, but you can control it to an extent. I can hold my breath, but after a while, the natural instinct takes over, and we can't control it. So it's a natural process that's always with us, and it's rhythmical, and it's like I often refer to it as being like the metronome for our lives, and we can just tune into that. Whatever's going on around us, we can just tune into that breath and that metronome, and it brings us into the present moment, brings us to our body, brings us to the now, and it's just a little coping mechanism. So we'll start with that. So to begin with, and you can do this with your eyes open or your eyes closed, it's entirely up to you. But to begin with, just become aware of your breath at your nostrils. And just become aware of the air moving in and out of your body through your nostrils. Just follow each part of the breath as it happens, in and out. And then move back and become aware of the breath in the back of your throat. And the air moving up and down, in and out. Now become aware of the breath at the top of your chest. Become aware of the movement of your body as it expands and contracts, as the air comes in and out. Just follow each individual portion. And now be aware of the breath right down at your diaphragm, at the base of your breathing. Feel it rise and fall. Follow each individual breath as it happens. And then we can connect our breath with that feeling of being alive, that awareness of being alive. We can connect with our breathing. So as you breathe in, you just feel and be aware of the fact that you're alive and you're taking in a breath. And as you breathe out, allow yourself to smile. So breathe in and feel alive. Breathe out and smile at the fact that you're alive. And be aware of where that smile sits within your being. It's not just an upturning of the corners of the mouth. You can actually feel the smile usually somewhere within your chest. So we breathe in and feel alive. We breathe out and smile and connect the breath with the smile and the awareness of being alive. And then we become aware of that pause between breaths. There is a moment between breathing out before you breathe in again, where there is a moment of calm and a moment of peace. So you breathe in and feel alive, you breathe out and smile at life, and then allow that smile and that awareness to relax into the pause. And enjoy the peace within that pause. Just follow that cycle, the 3 steps. In and feel alive, out and smile, relax into the peace of the pause. As you breathe in and feel alive, you can be aware of the fact that it's a slightly energizing sensation. And then as you breathe out and smile, and then allow that smile to relax and dissolve into the pores, you can feel a relaxation, feel any tension dispersing and relaxing into that pause. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. How do you find that? Nice? Relaxing? Good. Okay. I can refer to my notes now and look professional and organised. Right, I rather randomly decided that my little topic to talk to you about this evening would be puzzles. Originally it was problems. I was going to talk about problems and people's problems. And I thought, no, I don't like that. Problems is too negative. Let's see if we can twist it around a bit, come up with something a little different. So I thought of puzzles. So puzzles. What do we know? You hinted at this on Facebook. What do we normally think of with puzzles? What puzzles did you mention?
Sudoku.
You mentioned Sudoku.
Jigsaws.
Jigsaws.
Maze.
Pardon?
Maze.
Mazes. Yeah. We've got word searches, crosswords. They're all puzzles. So they're puzzles. And then I mentioned problems. And we've got problems like mathematical problems, scientific problems, philosophical problems. And then there are the personal problems, problems that people feel that they have. You know, the problems that people go to see a doctor about, or go to see a therapist about. I have problems. So we've got problems, we've got puzzles. What's the difference? Problems and puzzles. Well, all of those puzzle things that we've mentioned, Sudoku, crosswords, jigsaws, word searches, mazes, they're fun, aren't they? They're entertainment, or they're a pastime. They're supposed to be enjoyable. Challenging sometimes, you know. We don't just do the easy ones. You know, we're not still doing 4-piece jigsaws of tractors. We've moved on. We've gone on. We don't. You know, it's not just about putting it together and going, ah! We challenge ourselves. So there's a bit of a challenge there, but it's still enjoyable. And I suppose some of that ties into what I've talked about previously about stress and entertainment. Actually, the challenge of trying to achieve something can be quite enjoyable. So puzzles generally are an escape, they're relaxing, they're entertaining, they're an enjoyable pastime, something that we do to enjoy ourselves. Problems, however, they're a bit more serious. You know, the mathematical problems and the philosophical problems, the scientific problems, they're the ones that very serious men that get paid lots of money by universities will sit there and ponder about and research and do peer reviews and write lots of really complicated papers about. That's serious. You know, people's personal problems, the problems that they feel that they have within their lives are often serious. They can be quite debilitating. They can be, they can affect your health. They might be physical health problems. They might be mental health problems, compulsions, phobias, whatever problem it might be. They're serious. There's nothing entertaining about having a mental health problem. In a business sense, so out in the commercial world, in the commercial sector, in business, there are problems, and generally problems are defined as repeated issues. You know, within the IT world, if your computer breaks, I can't print something on my computer, and you ring the IT help desk, they'll come, and that is an issue to begin with. It's just an issue, it's a one-off. Computer won't print, fix it, gone away. If the issue becomes repetitive, and it happens again and again and again and again, then it becomes a problem. Starts as an issue, becomes a problem. And the same thing happens with people. You know, just because you wake up one morning feeling a bit sad, doesn't mean you're depressed. But if you wake up every morning for a month feeling sad, and it's repeated, then you could possibly say you're depressed. You have a problem. You're depressed. You know, if one day things are a bit hectic, and you find yourself going, "Oh God, I'm so stressed. It's all kicking off. It's so manic." That doesn't mean you're stressed and anxious just because one day you feel a bit overwhelmed. But if every day, for a period of days, weeks, months, you have that feeling of being overwhelmed, then chances are you will become stressed and you'll have a problem with stress. So, puzzles are entertaining, puzzles are fun, puzzles help us unwind, problems are serious, and they build up over time through repetition. So going back to puzzles, we try, and I can use the word try here, I don't normally like using try because try implies failure, but we try and complete our puzzle. If we've got a particularly hard Sudoku that we're doing, or a really complicated jigsaw of a tractor that's got 4,000 pieces, not just 4, we can try and complete it. And if we can't, if we get to a point where we say, I can't solve this puzzle, I'm finding it really difficult, how can we approach that? And I've thought of 3 ways. 3 things that we can do. And it's always 3, I like the number 3, as you'll know if you've been before. I'll always try and come up with 3 approaches to something. So the 3 things that you can do if you're attempting to solve your puzzle. 1, you can give up. You can accept that you can't do it, accept the fact it's too difficult, and you can give up and walk away. And think, we'll sack that one off, can't do it. Move on to the next one. That's 1. 2, we can persevere. We can go, I will not be beaten by this, I will not give up, I will keep going until I've cracked it. You can persevere. And, you know, that might work. You can get through it, and you'll succeed. Or number 3, you can ask for help. You say, I can't do this, I'm close to giving up, I've tried persevering, please will you help me? And someone will come along and they'll go, oh look, that's the steering wheel, you just put the steering wheel there. Have you done the corners first and then the top and the straight edges and all that?
Bury them.
That's it. 3. And I don't think that's probably about it in terms of how you would approach solving the puzzle. You can either give up, you can keep doing it yourself, or you can ask for help. What about problems? For solving problems. Do those 3 approaches also apply to problems? I would argue yes, they do. Whatever problem that might be, whether it's a very complicated mathematical equation that you're trying to solve, or it's a problem that you have with whatever it might be, a phobia or something. You could give up. You could just accept it. I accept that this is the way it is. I accept it and I move on. That's one thing you can do. You can persevere with it. You say, okay, I'm not willing to give up on this. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to see this thing through. Persevere until I get out the other side. Or 3, you can ask for help. And I would say that all 3 of those are perfectly valid responses. Perfectly valid approaches to solving the problem. On a personal level, you may feel more inclined to one or the other, and that's absolutely fine. But I would argue that if we approach our problems and think of our problems more like puzzles, we shift the way that we think about them. The problem needn't be the problem. We turn it into a puzzle and think about it differently. It becomes less potent. Potency is something that I talk about.
Would that help with driving? I've done 5 driving tests.
Yes.
And panic attacks every time.
Right.
So I have given up now, but it's taken me, last time, my 5th test was a year ago, but it took me a long time to accept not to do it.
Right.
I accept it, I will persevere. It's all 3 of what you said, and
Yeah.
help. I think my driving instructor was my bestest friend. But
Well, I bet he was. If you kept going back for lessons week after week after week, that's why he's in Barbados. Sorry, he believed.
He actually believed in me,
Yeah.
and I trusted him.
Yeah,
And I don't know now whether perhaps this will help me go back to my driving lessons.
it might do.
It might do, because, I have given up now, that's a year ago.
Right.
But I didn't really want to.
No.
I couldn't afford it in the end. After 2 years of lessons and 5 tests, it was
Yeah.
ongoing and ongoing.
Well, I would
Panic
hope.
attacks.
I'd hope that you might the mindfulness practice. If
What
you can
about the panic attacks?
cultivate that. Well, if you can cultivate your mindfulness and your breathing and those exercises,
I had a
you'll be
panic
able to.
attack on my lessons.
You'll be able to conquer the panic.
So I had to stop one of my tests because of a panic attack.
Should have been here last week when I was talking about fear.
Yeah, just making me.
I was talking about fear last week, so watch the video on YouTube, because there was stuff I was saying about fear. And actually what we're afraid of more often than not is not necessarily what's real in front of us. It's what our imagination is telling us. You weren't about to crash the car, but your imagination had told you were about to crash the car, and so you start getting a bit jittery, and then the fear of fear itself builds up, the fear of failure, and all these things, and it's all predicted. Yeah, but it's all predicted. It's all your imagination, it's all you predicting the future. Whereas if you're mindful and in the moment, you get in the car, hello Mr. Examiner, and you're mindful and you're aware of the feel of the steering wheel, and you connect with your breath, and you won't feel as panicked. You won't feel as panicked because you're aware, and you're aware of how your body is, and you're aware of your emotions, and you'll be aware of why you feel that way. And then it will dissipate. Because through awareness, you almost come back from it, and you don't. It's about that potency. If you allow it to take hold, then it escalates, and it takes hold, and it becomes potent, and it has power over you. But if you're aware and you allow yourself to just move back slightly from it through being mindful, you'll feel it begin to dissolve.
I will work on it.
But you're right, you can either give up and say, well, I'm not destined to drive, I'll buy a bike and I'll use taxis. Or you persevere and you find other coping mechanisms like practicing mindfulness or whatever it is. Or you ask for help and you try different driving instructors and different approaches.
Yeah, it's fun, yeah.
3 things. Okay. So I suppose it's how does this tie in with being mindful? Well, I suppose for me, it's about that awareness. Being aware of how you feel about a particular problem, if we're talking about problems. People come to practice mindfulness because maybe they've got to feel they have a problem with anxiety or stress, or they feel they're not happy, or they feel there's something missing and there's a problem. And then they cultivate this awareness, they develop this practice and this awareness, and they actually become aware of what the real issue is, what the real issues are. And they become aware of how they should respond. And so by being mindful, you will be able to choose which of those three responses is the most appropriate. And I always talk a lot about choice, feeling empowered to choose, rather than feeling that you're pushed into a particular situation. You've got the power to choose and the power to respond. So you're not reacting, you're not forced into a situation. You have the choice to respond in the most appropriate way for the situation, the present moment that you find yourself in. And whether that is the enjoy, enthuse, accept, or the give up, persevere, ask for help. Being mindful enables you to respond in the most appropriate way at that point in time. Okay. And then I had a little look. And I'm not usually one for... I don't tend to... I won't post things up on Facebook with those enlightening comments from luminaries and great thinkers. But I did pick out a few little quotes. And I thought, who's clever? Who's good at solving problems? Who's renowned for solving problems? And there was a chap called Albert Einstein that was quite clever, solved a few problems. And one of the things that he said was, we cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking that created them. And I think that's something that often people do. They get bogged down in a situation and they don't look outside of that. So how can you possibly solve your problem when you are unable to see or think any differently to that level or that sphere that you find yourself in? And that's where mindfulness helps. Because mindfulness enables you to connect with the observer, which is that person just a step back, that's disconnected from ego, that's disconnected from the raw emotion. It can observe it and be the observer. And that then enables you to develop this different kind of thinking. Another thing he said, which I quite liked, was if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself. So if you're confused by something, if you have a problem and you want to understand it, think like a 6-year-old. Be mindful and imagine, be aware of the fact that could you explain this to a 6-year-old? And if you can, then chances are you understand it. It's all about simplicity, keeping it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. And then I moved on, and there's a chap called Frank Lloyd Wright, who's an architect. I believe he's an American architect. Very skilled and clever architect who designed some amazing buildings. And he said a couple of things. So the first thing he said, which is actually a very mindful quote, he said, "The present is the ever-moving shadow that divides yesterday from tomorrow. In that lies hope." So the present moment is just this shadow in which we occupy. And it's the difference between the past and the future. And in that lies hope. And I would add to that, I would say in that also lies peace. It's like the pause between breaths. There's peace in that moment. And then another thing that Frank Lloyd Wright said, and I think this is going to lead on to the exercise that we're just going to do. And he said that he's talking about buildings, he's talking about architecture, but he said the space within becomes the reality of the building. So this building, this one that we're in now, this nice church, it's not about the bricks and the walls. That's not the building. The building is this space that's been created inside of it. The space that we can occupy. The space that gets filled with the sound of my voice or music on a Sunday. The space within which we can move around and communicate and engage. And that's what makes a building. And that leads me on to the next exercise. And we touched on it with the breathing exercise. And that was that feeling of aliveness, feeling alive. Within our body is alive. We have life within our body. We don't know where it comes from. Maybe we do. Some people have strong beliefs of where it comes from. Some people have no idea what it is that makes us alive. But we can be aware of it. We can be aware that we are living. We are living beings. And that life is, I'm suggesting, making similarities with what Mr. Lloyd Wright says, that life is the space within our building. That we have this body, but the main purpose of it, the greatness of it, the reality of it, is the space inside, the life inside it. So what we're going to do, or attempt to do, is to connect with that within our bodies and connect our breathing with feeling alive. So it's a slight departure from what we usually do. Normally we do it, for those of you that know, normally we do a sitting exercise where we engage our senses one at a time, because it's our senses that tell us where we are and what's happening in space and time. But we're going to try something a little different. But we'll begin in a similar way. So we'll begin by just having a little look around, looking at the space within this building in which we are currently sat. And while we're sat, we can also have a bit of a listen. Just be aware of sound. And be aware of smell. And aware of the taste in your mouth at this moment in time. And then close your eyes and become aware of the weight of your body sat in the chair. And as you're sat and you're aware of the weight of your body there sat in the chair, I want you to reconnect with your breath. Be aware of that movement of air again in and out. And we'll start at the head. So I'd like you to become aware of your head. Aware of life existing in your head. And connect your breathing with that awareness of life in your head. And you can connect that breath with your head to an extent that it's almost as if the breath is coming in through your eyes, in through your ears, being absorbed through the top of your skull. That your whole head is breathing and absorbing the breath in and out as you breathe and feel alive. And then move down and feel the breath at your sternum, and your breastplate, the top of your chest, as we did before. Feel the rise and fall of your chest as you breathe. And also be aware of the aliveness within your chest. And if it helps, you can allow yourself to just smile slightly. Sometimes that smile you can feel in your chest, and you can feel that aliveness there. And you can connect that with the breath. That it feels as if the breath is being absorbed through the chest, through the walls of the chest, into your body. And then if you just hold your hands out in front of you, just raise them from your lap and just hold them out slightly in front of you. Your fingers spread. And just start by connecting the breath with your hands. So as you breathe in, it's as if the air is being drawn through your fingertips, into your hands and up through your arms. And then as you breathe out, that air is flowing down through your arms and out through your fingertips. As your breath connects with your fingers and your hands and your arms, you feel the aliveness, you feel the life within your hands, within your fingers, within your arms. Stay with that for the next few breaths, that feeling of aliveness, that feeling of life within your hands and your arms and your fingers as the air is pulled in through your fingertips and up through your arms and then out. Now let's go to your feet. And connect your breath with your feet. And as you breathe in, it's as if the air is being drawn up through your toes, through the soles of your feet, and up your legs. And then as you breathe out, the air again travels down through your legs, down through your knees to your feet, and out through your toes, and out through the soles of your feet, down into the earth. And again, feel the life within your feet and your legs as your breath is connected. We can even connect the breath with our groin and our bottom. And it's as if you're breathing, your breath is connected and the air is travelling in and out through your pelvis, your bottom. And then up through your stomach. And you feel the life within your stomach. Connect your breath with your stomach and your colon, your intestines. And if while this is happening your mind is distracted and it wanders and thoughts and ideas pop into your head, it's absolutely fine. It doesn't matter. It's what brains do. Just turn your awareness back to whichever part of your body you are focusing on, aware of at that time. And connecting the breath with that part of the body. You can move around yourself and select parts of your body to connect your breath with, and the feeling of aliveness within that part of the body. Now we finish off, and for the next few moments I just would like you to fill your entire body with your awareness. So you feel the breath through your entire body, as if when you breathe in, it's coming up through your toes and up through your feet and up through your legs, and also in through your fingers and up your arms and down through your head and in through your chest and up through your hips, in through your stomach, and out through all of those different, in all of those different directions. In and out. Your whole body. Feeling alive throughout the entirety of your body. And also aware of that pause in between the breaths. The sound of the bell brings you back to your breath and the feeling of aliveness. You are not human doings, you are not human thinkings, you are human beings. At this moment in time, you are just being alive and breathing, feeling that life. And that is the most precious, important, valuable thing there is. More important than any possession or belief. And being able to share that awareness, share that being in the present moment with other people is the most precious gift that you can give to anybody. When you are ready, you may open your eyes. And prepare yourself to venture out into the wind and the impending storm. And I say thank you everybody for coming. I hope you've enjoyed yourself, and I hope to see you all again next week or the week after or the week after that, whenever you feel so inspired to come. Thank you.
Thank you.